My modest proposal is that if you were to view my work as opposed to taking a pharmaceutical, then I think that you would feel just as good as if you were taking a pharmaceutical. For various reasons, mostly personal to begin with, antidepressants were suddenly a part of my life. There's a person very close to me who was depressed. I had this material, a material that I found, a flooring material. It's carpeting, it's 100% virgin wool, it's made in France. I was looking for how to use it, a concept to apply it. And so typically what I usually do is I'll go find the medium for the concept, but this time I had the medium, I had the material first, and so I was looking for a concept. And so between that and maybe going to see Damien Hirst and seeing his dot paintings, maybe going to MoMA and seeing the exhibit of Matisse when he went through his cutout period. That also, I think, contributed to the work. So it took an incubation period of maybe, who knows, over a year and a half perhaps. And so also this was my first body of work since I became ill 5 years ago. So all that was kind of playing into it. These are tablets, and they're round, and it's interesting when you research, how shapes of the tablets, colors of the tablets are also, well thought out. They are with marketing, in mind. So, so knowing that, you just sort of embark, and you know that you're going to have to deal with the shape, you're going to have to deal with color. And so this material comes in a 30 color palette. So there's these amazing colors that I can choose from. There's going to be a lot of color involved, and I was really happy about that. And so I kind of proceeded from that, knowing that the shape was going to be a tablet shape, knowing that the colors were going to be juxtaposed to each other, contrasting to each other, being like the other color. Those kind of issues came into play as to how color plays. Because color, of course, has a psychological side to it. Hot is red, we all know that, cold is blue. So other colors can play that as well. And so it was that simple, and just start cutting them out and just start putting them together. And a year and a half later, I had something to show, and then they just became like any other prescription, I guess, where I had to have more. Well, one of the things that really became apparent to me, and I was aware of this, of course, but it just became very apparent when I did go to that Matisse show, and then reading about it the next day in a paper, whenever it was, and realizing that they were calling these the late works, the crowning works of an artist after he's made art for decades, which is me. I've made close to 3 decades I've been making art. So maybe this is those late works. Maybe this is my second, third, fourth act. I'm not really sure. But I never go forth with the work unless I feel that it's relevant. And I feel that it is relevant on a lot of levels. As reductive as they are, these works go to a point where there's all these things involved, the things that I talked about. They go that far, and then they are existing. And then I start just paring back and trying to get to the essence of it, trying to get something that's universally acknowledged, perhaps, color, shape. The shape also, I like it because it's the shape of the sun, the moon, the planets. And it's not really a man-made shape, not like the cube or the square or any of those. So I've come full circle, realizing that I am using pretty much the same instincts that I was using when I started making out art, and not, just being a student, being a neophyte, being a rookie, just starting out. And I relied on his instincts to make the work, and it seemed to work. You know, it seemed to be accepted. So it's more of a natural approach as opposed to a nurtured approach, you know, where those sensory parts of things kind of also, you know, play a big part, come into it. And so that's one of the things that I feel that I've been told that it's one of my strengths, and I think that comes from, you know, Octavio Paz, he talked about, you know, sensuousness and sensuality and how the Mexicans know that pretty good. And so I think, you know, that being part of me also kind of comes to the fore. And it's very useful in the seduction part of the work, where I hope to seduce someone, to hold them long enough for them to consider the work and then think about, you know, what I'm calling them, what they're looking like, how you feel about them. My favorite category is artist. And look back, I mean, you know, my father was Spaniard, so there's the Moroccan, the Iberian, the Mesoamerican, the Mexican, the Texan, now the American. And so I'm all those things. So I'm a mutt, and I feel that as an artist, I'm all those things too. I mean, I'm a conceptualist, I'm a formalist, I'm a minimalist. I'm, you know, there have been some other labels that have been applied, and so that's fine. You know, I am all those things, that's true. So maybe so I say the best category is artist, citizen of the world, like that. I love being part of this gallery. I like the space. I love this operation of hers, and I think it's done in a way that should be done. And I like the professionalism of it. What this gallery is doing is, if anything, it's advancing, you know, the agendas, the rigor, the conversation about art. And so I think it's playing a big role. These works maybe can serve as a placebo and as an alternative to all that, perhaps. Anyway, that's my modest proposal. You know, these can make you feel good, that these can serve as a placebo. So try it. If not my work, try some other arts, some other artists' work, and try and feel better that way. Ultimately, you know, what you have is my conceit on the floor. You're looking at my conceit because, you know, this is what I do. I make these artworks that probably you don't need, but you probably want them anyway, like Andy Warhol used to say. You know, give them something that they don't really, you're giving them something that they don't really need, but, you know, they want it anyway, and so you give it to them.